The second week of jury selection in the Derek Chauvin trial is expected to get underway soon, but we are in the middle of a hearing where moments ago the defense addressed that $27 million settlement between the city of Minneapolis and George Floyd's family that was announced Friday as part of a federal civil case. The story breaking right now, the defense asking the judge for a change of venue, also asking to call back the 7 jurors that have already been selected for further questioning.
This is, by my count, notwithstanding all of the high-ranking state officials that made comments at the onset of this entire situation, but by my count, this is the third highly prejudicial and incredibly prejudicial press leak or press release that has very suspicious timing, to say the least, and has an incredible propensity to taint a jury pool.
The state also saying that it was not happy about the pretrial publicity. Now, in the first week of jury selection, 7 jurors were selected, 5 men, 2 women. 4 of those jurors are white, 3 are people of color, 5 more jurors and 2 alternates are still to be chosen.
Criminal defense attorney and legal analyst Joe Tamburino has been following this, joins us live. Joe, we didn't hear defense attorney Eric Nelson ask for a mistrial, but just short of that, he's asked for almost all of the remedies you might expect, right?
That's correct. Everything that we discussed earlier this morning, except for the mistrial, he is requesting a continuance, change of venue, recall the 7 the jurors that have been picked, as well as a full sequestration going forward. Right now, the state is arguing, but pretty much what you and I and Heather talked about this morning, he's doing right now.
What are the chances the judge will rule in his favor?
I think the judge is going to rule partly in his favor. Clearly, you have to recall those 7 jurors and question them. The issue really is going to become, will the judge do a full sequestration of the jury? Now, that's an extraordinary type order, but he's obviously considering it.
Talk to us about why this is so significant. Why being exposed to the news of this settlement is something that certainly Derek Chauvin's attorney is upset about.
Because it goes to the heart of what a jury is supposed to do, which is consider the evidence and whether or not the state proves the case beyond a reasonable doubt fairly and impartially. If any jury on any case receives information outside of the courtroom that could affect their ability to be fair and impartial, then they should not serve on the jury. It really goes to the heart of jury service. It's that serious.
Joe, we just got word from our producer that the judge has said that these jurors will be called back. These 7 jurors will be called back. What happens when they're called back? Do you directly bring this information to them? Do you question around that? How do you do this now to know if they've been affected by this news?
Well, this is where the art form of litigation and being a good judge comes in, because certainly you don't want to say to the juror, hey, this is what happened, what do you think? You have to do it in a more artful way by asking them, look, there's been some news of late that has come out last Friday into Saturday, and we're wondering if you heard anything about the case, and if so, what is that? And if so, is it going to affect your ability to be fair and impartial? You don't want to spoon feed them what the information is. Rather, you want to see what did they take in, what did they hear, see, read. That would be the better way to go.
Defense attorney Eric Nelson said in court that he thought the timing was suspicious. He seemed to be suggesting that the city council was intentionally using language like unanimous decision as some sort of nefarious way of interfering with the trial. Judge Cahill moments ago said that he does not think there was any, ill intent by the city or certainly by the state. The state is now running this prosecution, and the state is trying to make the case, Joe, that this isn't their fault. They're independent of all the stuff that the city of Minneapolis may be doing in relation to a settlement. Does the state have any grounds to stand on here to say, like, hey, things should stay on track, this isn't really our fault?
Yes, they do have a decent argument that it is not their fault, because what the state has just finished arguing is that they cannot control what the city of Minneapolis or private parties in a lawsuit or anything like that that happens outside of the courtroom. The state can only control its own witnesses and the evidence it puts forth and how they act. So they're right that it's not their fault. There's no doubt about it. But when something happens, it happens. It is factually true that this press conference happened, so it must be dealt with.
The judge just said he wished city officials would stop talking, but he said that about all the parties in this case from the beginning. And Heather, he did just make a decision about the trial.
He just made a decision that the trial will proceed. Joe, what happens now? Do you proceed with the jury selection of the jurors that they're questioning today and then bring back those other 7 jurors later on in the week?
Correct. What they'll do is they'll have the clerk, whoever the clerk is, contact these jurors and make arrangements for them to come in. They won't have to come in as one group. Rather, they'll work with their schedules and figure out times throughout the next coming days when they can come in and be questioned. I'm sure they'll try to be convenient about it.
So you just saw the camera kind of zoom off the judge as court has gone into recess. The judge did say that he's not going to give Eric Nelson more strikes. That's when an attorney is allowed to say, I want to get rid of this juror. He said you can still challenge jurors for cause if they're biased or they know about this. But that's sort of where we're at 9:15. Court will be back in session and they'll get going again on jury selection. Joe will be watching and we'll be streaming it online. Thanks for helping us make sense of this breaking news on Mid-Morning right now.
Thank you.
All right, CBSN Minnesota is your home for jury selection. We'll have live streaming coverage of that all day. You can get to CBSN for free through the WCCO or CBS News app, also on WCCO.com.
Governor Tim Walz is turning the dial back